Okay, today I have an update on the current status globally. Um from what I see, is that the reset is terminal. It's in the terminal phase. Um, Everything is live. The harvest is peaking. You have the geoengineering, the seeding, acceleration, the atmospheric cold. Um, you have the white unmarked plains now at 600% frequency over the US, Europe, Asia, and Middle East in the last 72 hours. The reflective particulate layer is saturated. The blue beam tests escalated March 11th. You have multiple UFO and angelic hologram sightings reported in Texas, Oklahoma, and Virginia, and Midwest, and now spreading to the East Coast in California. Yesterday, it was just Texas, Oklahoma, Virginia, and the Midwest, and now it's spreading to East Coast and California. The trees are curling at a rate that is unprecedented at 80%. You have entire forests in rural areas turning brown and black overnight. You still have the bird die offs and their thick, they carpet roads and rooftops. You have people with respiratory illnesses up to 70%. There's hospitals turning away patients. You have triage tents outside. You have bodies piling in hallways. And this is just a global picture of what's happening right now. Uh, this is the quiet reaper. Okay, billions breathing poison, lungs filling with the dust that will soon project the savior or alien show. And that's referring to Project Bluebeam. You have the food and water poisoning phase. This is a biological cold. You have the recalls now exceed 350 products in 96 hours. So, of course, it keeps increasing. Everything is increasing day by day. Yesterday it was lower. I think it was around 300. Now it's 350 products in 96 hours. So every day it increases. And these are recalls. You got the salmonella in eggs. You got the botulism in canned goods. You have heavy metals in bottled water. All things that I already am very aware of. That's been going on for a while, and I've been trying to sound the alarm. You have water failures in 35 plus states. Okay, yesterday it was less, okay, so it keeps adding. You have boil advisories widespread. You have FEMA, emergency water trucks distributing tainted supplies, which I used to do back in the day. I used to distribute the water for FEMA. You have reports of mysterious rashes, organ failure, and mass hospitalizations. Okay, that is not natural. Okay, we have livestock collapse at 350% plus. This is, I think, an additional 50 uh, percent more than yesterday. Okay, you have mass graves of cattle. You have poultry dug in Midwest states. You have famine visible. You have urban food lines stretching blocks. You got rural families slaughtering pets. And of course, children are starving, looking like they're anorexic. Uh, as far as the multi war front, the war ignition, the kinetic call, you have Iran, uh, the IRGC, hypersonic retaliation, March 11 and 12. You got U.S. carrier group in Gulf of Oman hit hard. There was reports of secondary explosions, reported 250 plus casualties, which is up from yesterday. You have, and if it's saying 250 plus casualties, that's probably on uh, the low end. They're not telling you it's probably way more than that. Okay, it's just an inversion, and that's just to keep uh, the people, compliant and obedient. To keep the people, keep the veil over the people to where they can't see the real cost of this conflict. That's pretty much World War III, and that's pretty much the beginning of the reset. You have the Strait of Hormuz, fully contested. Yesterday, oil price was, I think, 250. Now it's $280 per barrel. The Russia Ukraine, you got the Kinzhal barrages on NATO supply hubs. That's March 12th. You got 2,500 plus casualties in 24 hours. Uh, You have China, Taiwan, the blockade turned to slaughter. March 11, 12. Additional U.S. surface ships damaged. You have casualties in the hundreds. North Korea, 20 missiles, March 12, striking U.S. Japan bases. The casualties are in the hundreds. You have India and Pakistan. The tactical nuclear exchange, March 12th morning, limited, but you have 700 plus dead, and the fallout is still spreading. As far as Venezuela, you have the U.S. invasion force bogged down. On March 12th, you have 1,500 plus casualties in the jungle fighting. Okay. You have millions displaced. You have cities burning. You have mass graves dug with backhoes. The kinetic coal is now open season. Okay, and as far as the domestic control measures, the ID prison phase, Anthropic, I told you about Anthropic CEO, rejected it, but, Claude AI, picked up the slack. Now, OpenAI fully compliant. Claude-like AI backdoor now scanning social media for refusal keywords. That means they're scanning the social media for anybody who is speaking the truth, who's cutting straight to the heart of this beast. You have a national emergency in 35 states. You have martial law declared. You have martial law declared in some of these states. You have FEMA camps at capacity. And at these FEMA camps, retinal ID is mandatory for food distribution. Of course, we heard the sleeper cell alerts issued March 11th and 12th. Department of Homeland Security warns of Iranian proxies launching attacks on U.S. soil, which is false flags. These are false flags to try to get us behind this war in Iran, but it's not going to work. Only for the sleepwalkers who cheer for the lockdown. They're going to cheer for the checkpoints, the digital IDs, until they realize that they have trapped themselves into a box that they can never escape from. And so, and because of this, they are locking us in this grid. And if anyone who refused, they are labeled as a terrorist, anti-Semitic, just nonsense. And the spiritual narrative inversion, deluge harvest peak. This is the Armageddon briefings to the troops. Now, yesterday was 400, now 500 plus complaints. You got pastors live streaming that Trump is the anointed one. You have sermons, churches packed with weeping masses begging for protection. Of course, that's how they manipulate you, okay? They make you hope more. They make you kneel more. They make you pray more. They make you worship the false saviors. And people are complying. I mean, just consciously or unconsciously, whatever, they are just obeying and just walking right off of the cliff. Because that's what the beasts do. It harvests the terror. It controls through fear, hope, despair. That's how they control. And all of that taps into everyone's emotions. Okay, you have the stock dumps as of March 12th, 2026. You got insider dumping. Just like yesterday, it's apocalyptic. Because that's how unprecedented this stuff is. You got the pure bloods, which I call the Rh negative hybrids, which that's what they are fleeing at terminal velocity. You got defense tech, sell to buy ratio of 20-1. Yesterday was 18-1. Okay, you got NVIDIA, Wong dumped 800 million. I believe yesterday it was like 700 million. And Palantir, Peter Thiel at 600 million. So they're dumping these stocks and stuff. They're dumping them because they know that the reset is now. You have Lockheed, Raytheon execs liquidating entire positions. The total sales last 24 hours, 11.2 billion. I don't even have any words for that. You got the markets that are down 40% plus. Iran shock plus the Taiwan blockade. That's also feeding into this. And all the billionaires are completely dark. Their bunkers sealed and their private jets are grounded. Okay, the reset is here. It's unrelenting. It's the beast's final feast. This is the only way they think that they can save themselves, is by destroying everything and going in their bunkers and hiding, and then rising after the smoke clears to restart it all over again, which is the reset. Okay, and that's as far as that goes. Now, also there were more Epstein files dumped. Okay, and you have uh, Trump has signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act in November 19th of 2025, and this forced the DOJ to release everything in their possession. The first major dump hit January 30th, 2026, over 3.5 million pages, 2,000 videos, and 180,000 images. Additional tranches dropped in February and early March, but the beast has been frantically redacting, removing, or accidentally withholding material, especially anything tying the ancients, the 300 purebloods, to the youth harvest. You have, but this is what I see from all of this. Okay, just using truth and accountability, cutting through all the nonsense. Okay, the flight logs, the island visitor books, the massage calendars, and emails repeatedly named the same Rh negative hybrid bloodlines I've been ripping open. You have the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Warburgs, the Oppenheimers, the Bronfmans, the DuPonts, the Astors, the Bundys, the Collins, the Russells, the Van Doynes, the Merovingians. I don't know what kind of damn name this is. The Windsors, the Lee family, and more. The Merovingians, the Merovingians. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. The new March 11 drops added Les Wexner, the Victoria's Secret's money launderer. You have Leslie Groff, Epstein's longtime assistant. You have Jean-Luc Brunel, the modeling agent. You have several Saudi royals, including the Glass Mansion Prince from Loudoun County, Virginia. They're all connected. You have the Youth Harvest Network that has been exposed. I've been talking about this for the longest, so it's no surprise to me. But you have the coded language, the massage sessions, the art projects, modeling gigs, appearance in unredacted emails, and calendars. You have locations include Little St. James, Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. You have Palm Beach. You have Paris. You have underground facilities in New Mexico and Arizona. The March 10-11 drops include FBI, 302 interview summaries with accusers naming high-profile figures in both parties. In the youth procurement, the trips disguised as philanthropy. Okay. Also, you have the cloning, the body double mentions, which is not speculation, it's fact. Okay. They tell us exactly what they're doing, but they don't expect us to believe it. Okay. But you have the witness statements that are still redacted, partially redacted, alleged replacement protocols for compromised figures like Biden, who was executed in 2019. Okay, people are not going to believe that. Okay, because they're in their box. Okay, but so this is for the people in the light who sees what was going on and understands that this did happen in 2019. The Biden that people were seeing was obviously not him. It was much taller, nothing matched, no facial structure, anything. So, and it just happened. We would have never known that he was executed if not for the rip in the beast armor from these Epstein disclosures. You have the Maxwell that was extracted from prison. You have the Epstein suicide staged. He was also working for the Rothschilds. The files contain notes about mask malfunctions, which there's all kinds of videos showing the mask malfunctions. And then also the sudden health changes in public figures. The entity's arrogance leaking through. And I believe that Roosevelt was a victim of that, of the beast. You have the tech and AI ties. You have Epstein-funded early AI research and surveillance startups. March 11 drops show meetings with OpenAI precursors and defense contractors. The same tech now being weaponized for the ID prison grid. And I was sounding an alarm about that when Trump brought in Sam Altman and Peter Thiel. Zuckerberg, all of them. The suppression and damage control that's happening right now, is the DOJ has removed thousands of documents. After victims complained their identities were exposed, senators bipartisan demanded a GAO probe March 11 for improper redaction and withholding. The Trump-related accusations, the sexual assault claims from a minor were in the January dump, but later incorrectly coded as duplicative and withheld, then quietly released March 5th after pressure. The files are the crack in the armor. This is the open wound of this beast, okay, that I'm hunting, because I see the beast and I'm hunting them, and I'm going straight to the root. All this government stuff that people are caught up in, that is not the roots. There's a government over all governments globally. That's the roots. That is the target. Okay. Also, I want to get into this Rh negative blood. Okay, talk about this Rh negative, okay, because it's not a mutation or evolutionary quirk, as the sanitized science claims. Sanitized, the gatekeepers, okay, who do not want us to know the truth. This is the Rh negative, okay, is the mark of the fallen seeders, the ancients, the vampire demonic hybrids who seeded humanity long ago. They survived every reset and continue to rule from the shadows through their 300 committee proxies. I talked about that quite a bit, and I mean, I'm vindicated because everything that I researched is now coming to fruition, is coming to the light, even though I was screaming it. But I didn't expect people to believe it, because how could they when everything that they were taught is a lie? And they don't want to believe that. They want to still bow to the beast. Okay, but let me get a little deeper, okay? The Rh negative bloodlines, this is not human and this is not natural. The Rh negative blood lacks the rhesus factor, the RHD antigen found in 85% of humans, Rh positive. Mainstream science calls it a deletion or mutation that happened 35,000 and 50,000 years ago. But through my research and just using common sense and 98% truth, I find that it's a deliberate seeding. It's the Rh negative, and the reason why they're trying to hide it. Whenever they're trying to hide it, gatekeep it, then you know that you need to investigate that. Okay, and that's exactly what I did, and this is what I found out, that they are the purebloods. That's the root. This is who we need to focus on. Okay, we take care of them, the whole house of cards fall. So you got to get it from the roots. Okay, it's a deliberate seeding. The Rh negative carriers are the descendants of the pre-flood giants, the Nephilim, the Anunnaki hybrids, the fallen angels, the offspring with human women. In Genesis 6, the book of Enoch. Okay, the Basque people, which are the highest Rh negative percentage in Europe at 35%, Berbers, certain Celtic, Irish, Scottish lines, and some royal bloodlines like the Windsors, the Rothschilds, the Merovingians carry it at elevated levels, all tied to ancient blue blood aristocracies. Okay, the biological anomalies, the mark of the ancients, the pregnancy rejection. The Rh negative mothers often reject Rh positive fetuses. The hemolytic disease. The body treats the baby as foreign. This is not a flaw, it is the entity's self-preservation preventing dilution of the pure Rh negative bloodline, meaning that it's not a flaw. The pure bloods are not compatible with any other blood type. Okay? That's why you see a lot of these, like the Rothschilds, marrying each other. They keep that pure blood and having kids with each other because it's pure blood, because their blood is incompatible with people with, let's say, Rh positive or any other blood type. But this is the interesting thing I found out about the Rh negative line. The lower body temperature. This report consistently lower temps to 96 and 97, closer to reptoid physiology. Okay. They also have an extra vertebrae, a tailbone anomalies. Some Rh negative have extra ribs, extra vertebrae, or vestigial tail remnants, echoes of the giant Nephilim form. They are hypersensitive to the EMFs. Many cannot tolerate high EMF environment. The cell towers or Wi-Fi. The ancients' tech, the free energy grids, was low. The EMF modern grid is designed to disrupt them. That is interesting. And I'll put that in my back pocket. I'll put that in my toolbox to use later. Okay, you have the higher IQ and intuition, the statistical outliers in creativity, pattern recognition, and otherworldly perception, the light's residue in their blood. You notice how things seem scripted? Well, this is why, because they are scripted, not by who you think. And here are some of the historical and cultural traces. You have the royal bloodlines. Every major European royal house, the Windsors, the Habsburgs, the Romanovs, the Bourbons, has high Rh negative frequency. The blue blood is literal. It's copper-based blood. Hemocyanin in some ancient lines gives blue tint under skin. Interesting. You got the Basque and the Berber. The Basques have the highest Rh negative rate in Europe, 35%, with unique language, non-Indo-European, and legends of ancient gods descending. You have the ancient texts, the Sumerian, the Anunnaki, those who from heaven came, describing as having shining eyes and different blood. Egyptian pharaohs, the Tutankhamun, Ramses, had elongated skulls and Rh negative markers. My pronunciation is off right now. You got the Nephilim, the giants. You got the post-flood survivors carried the Rh negative trait. The Raphim in Bible, the Anakim, tall, long-lived, feared by tribes. Okay, and now the modern control mechanism. The entity protects the Rh negative line through inbreeding, royal families, and selective breeding. Blood banks prioritize Rh negative for elites. This is universal donor, but rare. Conspiracy leaks, Epstein files, March 2026, show Rh negative youth targeted for essence harvesting. The adrenochrome from pure blood sustains their long life. The 300 committee is almost entirely, the committee of 300, the roots, is almost entirely Rh negative, the pure blood vessels the ancients used to rule. Okay, the RH negative is not a superior race. It is the entities anchored in our realm. Many RH negatives feel alienated, not from here, because they carry the ancient's mark. But the light can redeem any vessel. Okay, and that's about the RH. And then here's something else here. I want to get into it. And this is going to be my last thing I have on here. And this is more about just the seeding. And this is what I got from suppressed text, and that I uncovered, the Enoch Sumerian tablets, the Genesis fragments, and the pattern across every reset. Long before the Younger Dryas reset, long before the mud flood that buried Tartaria and the 1800 cities, a group of beings known as the Watchers, or Anunnaki in Sumerian records, descended upon Mount Hermon. They were not angels in the soft religious sense. They were advanced entities, powerful, luminous, long-lived, sent or self-appointed to observe humanity. But they broke their oath. According to the Book of Enoch, the text the ancients tried the hardest to bury, 200 watchers led by Semjeza and Azazel swore an oath on Mount Hermon to take human wives. They taught forbidden knowledge, metallurgy, sorcery, astrology, cosmetics, weapons, and the secrets of the heavens. Their unions produced the Nephilim, the giant hybrids with elongated skulls, extraordinary strength, and unnatural appetites. These offsprings devoured humanity, drank blood, and filled the earth with violence and corruption. The Creator, or the higher order, responded with the flood, not to punish all humanity, but to wipe out the hybrid corruption. Noah was preserved, a pure line, but the watchers themselves were bound in the earth or the abyss, yet not all. Some survived, some escaped judgment, some hid their seed in the bloodlines that would become RH negative carriers. Those survivors are the fallen seeders, the ancients we face today. They persisted through every reset. After the flood, they reemerged as the gods of Sumer, Egypt, and their pre-Tartarian civilizations. They engineered the next cycles of control, the giant bloodlines, the Raphim, the Anakim, the royal inbreeding to keep the RH negative trait pure. And the resets, the Younger Dryas, the mud floods, whenever humanity began to remember or resist. So we're starting to remember now, and we're starting to resist. And that's why I talk about the Great Reset. Everything is lining up for this to happen in the very near future. I mean, and it's happening now in real time. Their essence is vampiric. It really is. They sustain longevity through Lush and the youth essence and rituals, do organ harvesting, drinking the blood of the youth. The RH negative is their signature, the blood that rejects dilution, the temperature closer to reptoid physiology, the market that allows them to anchor their energy in human vessels. And that's where you see these people talk about these shape-shifting people looking like reptilians, and this is where it comes from. Okay, and like I said, I'm not trying to make anybody believe anything. I'm just calling it for what it is. And the people with the light, it'll resonate with them. Okay, the 300 Committee is their modern council, the visible Olympians. These is the government over all governments. This is the government that controls all governments globally, and they are not going to reveal themselves. They stay in the shadows. They stay in the shadows. That's why they have existed for so long. That's why they've been here throughout many resets. The visible Olympians who carried the purest remaining seed, every royal house, every old money dynasty, every old money dynasty. I have named every name that keeps surfacing in the Epstein files. They are the vessels. They did not fall from grace. They fell into our realm to farm it. This is why the entity fears the light merging. They fears us joining together, and that's why they keep us divided. When enough of us refuse their inversion, their anchor weakens. The RH negative lines lose their power over the harvest. The seeders themselves become vulnerable. So we have to refuse the history we've been told, the lie, the history that's a complete lie, the origin story of them, and we have to refuse their blood supremacy. We are the return, the frequency that ends the seeding forever.